Hi, you are watching the 7th episode of the International Volleyball Academy, where internationally successful coach Zdeněk Hanik and women's volleyball star Helena Grozer teach you how to play volleyball from the very basics. In each episode, we build on what we taught you in previous episodes, so we hope you've been watching and paying attention. Today, we'll show you the basics of proper setting.
A sample of top volleyball, where a Brazilian setter performs a set and combination called a pipe. It kind of previews what we want to teach you next. You already know how to control the ball when setting with your fingers and how your feet should work. Now we'll start working on improving your setting and slowly begin to find who among you has the ability to be the setter for whom the following drills are primarily intended. But the more players from other positions who can do them, the better.
Before we start the real setting, we practice the setting above first. The reason for this is clear. The hands logically tilt more backwards, which is required for a proper set. It is always helpful to include a basketball because, as we mentioned in the first two parts, its weight helps to push the thumbs down better.
And then, the endless cycle of setting above yourself begins, which the player just has to endure. Unfortunately, otherwise you will never become a good volleyball player. So grit your teeth and go for it. The result will be worth it.
We can try it at the wall, which mercilessly gives feedback on the vertical flight of the ball, and again we can help ourselves with a basketball. Then we start combining setting above us with setting in front of us. First individually, after all, it is an advantage if the player can do certain exercises alone than in pairs or trios. We play with different variations, with the movement under the ball, in a sitting position, which are such exercises designed more for the warm-up, with the head, which is again important as a certain variety, and then we can add a second ball.
We include multi-ball drills because we are taking away time for the players to prepare to set, a situation similar to the time pressure in a game. Then there are the change of pace exercises, obviously focused on locomotion.
We are gradually making the conditions more difficult and continually bringing unpredictable situations into play. It is these exercises in pairs, trios, or fours that again give objective feedback on how the players are actually controlling the ball in their feet. These drills can no longer be done at half throttle, or they immediately end in a mistake. And that is exactly what we need. We test ball control, but also the endurance to withstand demanding drills.
You can see that they are manageable not only by 15-year-olds with a coach, but also by 12-year-olds. Children at this age can handle coordination-intensive exercises. We just must not slacken in demands and correct their mistakes. And here are the most challenging exercises.
For future setters, the following applies. Active, quick feet, and accuracy. These are the necessary basics to become a tactically advanced and creative player in the future. Without a good skill base, you can't do without.
And of course, we have to spice up the training with game forms. The guys need that. Volleyball is a game, not a skill circus. 12-year-olds are still a bit naive in the game, but 15-year-olds don't give anything away anymore, and you can clearly see the seeds of tactical thinking in the game. And these games are played into adulthood.
So far in today's episode, we focused on setting above ourselves. In the following part, we will focus on setting in front of you without setting above you. Both are relevant to the proper methodology for educating setters. First, we learn how to set the ball in front of us. It's not a proper set yet, like in the introduction shots, because during the proper set, we set the ball at an angle in a different direction than the incoming ball. However, Such a set is the daily bread of a player, especially in warm-up.
These drills, some of which you already know from previous episodes, are a preparation. Do you remember praying, headache? These were the drills in the early episodes that shaped the hands for proper setting, with emphasis on the horizontal position of the pinky edge of the palm, the simplest setting that occurs in volleyball, but we have to get the technique right again in training.
Especially for prospective setters, it's all about the proper engagement of the thumbs, which press down and make a miniature movement under the ball. Again, the basketball serves us well. We perform first sitting, then standing.
And then there are the thousands of sets in pairs that players perform every practice or as part of pre-game warm-ups into adulthood.
These very simple sets don't put the player under time pressure. So we create training drills to create that pressure. For example, 2 basketball drills, not forgetting to move the feet consistently under the ball.
Additional tasks or the inclusion of a second ball reduces the time for the players to take action and forces them to speed up their footwork. And then there's the 2-finger exercise. You'll probably recall how, in previous episodes, we drilled into your head that the thumb and index finger are the main fingers in setting. Now we've got it handy. This fact still holds true, of course.
As we said, setting in front in pairs is quite static, so we try to keep the players moving. First in easier drills, then we build up the time pressure again. We also keep switching balls for neuromuscular coordination. Experience has taught us that modern volleyball is all about time. That's why we steal it from the players in training to prepare them for the difficult situations that await them in the match.
From exercises in pairs, we gradually get to exercises in 3s, 4s, and 5s. However, regardless of the number of players, we still develop setting in front of ourselves, not at an angle, as in a case of proper setting. The point of all these drills is to work on 2 basic things that are essential parts of a good setter's skills. First, movement under the ball so that the setting can be done in a relaxed manner after the previous movement. And second, pressure for accuracy.
Without accuracy, all these drills fall apart immediately. And in the game, inaccuracy means the impossibility of being a good setter, or at least a bad mood for the spikers who have complications in the attack after an inaccurate set.
And all these drills themselves develop the mentioned skills without our unnecessary coaching instructions.
And then there is the ever-repeated but always valid principle that every training session should include preparatory games. So far simple and a bit banal, but important in terms of emotional experience. These games will gradually become more and more like the real game. Even these professional players have done hundreds of hours of drills, as well as a huge variety of preparatory games. And don't worry, a real volleyball pass is coming soon. The exercises are designed for future setters, but can be mastered by other players as well. Setting over the yourself forces the player to tilt the wrist backwards. The overhead set is combined with the forward set. Setting in front of you is not yet a proper setting because it is done in the same direction as the incoming ball. It is a basic set used primarily in warm-ups. For setting above yourself and in front of you, we use individual drills, pairs, triples, 4s, and 5s. Multi-ball drills shorten the player's time to assess the situation. We use game forms or preparatory games in every practice.
In the next episode, we will finally focus on how to find a teammate with a set and how to make a back set. You will become true setters.